OK, here's some more highlights from Sanctuary State Governor's testimony on Capitol Hill. Watch this.
We also cooperate with Homeland Security requests when there's a judicial warrant and when due process has been afforded by our Constitution has been served. But enforcing immigration law is not the role of local and state governments.
But what we don't do is civil immigration enforcement. That's the federal government's job.
Trump's doing. Well, I mean, Senator Bill Hagerty joining us now. I'm exasperated. Governor Hochul said it's the job of the federal government to do immigration. That's exactly what Trump is doing, and she's complaining about it.
You're exactly right, Stuart. And what they're not saying is what's so obvious to all of us. They're creating these sanctuaries as magnets, Stuart. They want these magnets to attract illegal aliens. They want these illegal aliens because why? They want to increase the count for the census so they can get more congressional districts and more electoral votes in their states. That's precisely what's happening. That's why we should outlaw this. We should not allow the counting of illegal aliens in the census for allocating congressional seats and electoral votes. They know that. But that's exactly why they're using this as a magnet, and they're not cooperating with federal law. You've seen the chaos in the streets. You've got illegal aliens running around with flags of other countries and burning the American flag. These are criminals that are disrespecting the United States of America, and I think we need to make it clear. But the United States is not a sanctuary nation, nor are any of these cities allowed to be sanctuary cities.
The problem is that Congress can't just abolish sanctuary status. You can't really do that, can you?
Well, here's what you can do, and I'm doing it today. I'm bringing out legislation that will stop the flow of community development block grants to these sanctuary cities. If you're a sanctuary city, we're going to withhold the funding for community development block grants. They'll start to see it when on the Appropriations Committee and the Banking Committee, we're able to put pressure on the funding of these cities that seem to rely so much on the federal dole, yet they want to act as if they're independent at the same time.
Well, that would work, Senator. I'll change the subject for a moment. You say that China is, quote, waging war on the U.S. in multiple ways. That's strong stuff, Senator. What do you mean by it?
It is strong, but what's happening to us is very strong, and we need to wake up to it. The most recent case of agro-terrorism, very deeply concerning. Bringing in bioterrorism material here that could destroy crops in America. You think about a spy balloon that was floated over our country. I think the worst offense of all, Stuart, is the fact that China continues to send fentanyl and fentanyl precursors into the United States through Mexico, through their partners there, and they launder the money from these Mexican partners or these other cartels from Venezuela, you name it. The crime that's being fueled here in America has fingerprints of the CCP all over it. And if you think about what's happening on our campuses, Confucian institutes, the attempts basically to indoctrinate young people. You think about the content on TikTok here in America versus what kids see in China. They see educational programming in China on TikTok. Here, something very, very different. So it's deeply concerning and something that we ought to acknowledge as a nation and address.
We used to refer to China as our rivals. Now, we often refer to them as the enemy. I think that's what we've come to. Senator Bill Hagerty, thank you very much for joining us, sir. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Stuart.
See you again soon.
Thank you very much.